The truth about success is simple but not easy. It's not something that just happens. It's not handed down, not guaranteed, and certainly not owed to anyone. Success is earned through intention, through discipline, through persistence, and through personal transformation. Most people desire success, but few are truly willing to embrace what it demands. That's where the truth begins to divide the dreamers from the doers. We live in a world where the surface is celebrated. Likes, views, highlight reels, and polished outcomes. But what people often forget is that success is forged in the shadows, not the spotlight. It's built in silence when nobody is watching, and when the only applause is the sound of your own heartbeat as you push forward again and again, even when it doesn't look like it's working. Success doesn't respond to feelings. It responds to principles. You don't get to harvest where you didn't plant. You don't get to complain about results when you've neglected the process. That's the truth. And while it may feel harsh, it's also liberating. Because if success is earned, that means no one can stop you but you. It's not your background, it's not your circumstances, it's not your setbacks, it's your response to all of it that determines your rise. Every step towards success is bought with a price. The price of discipline when you'd rather be distracted, the price of faith when the evidence tells you to quit, the price of sacrifice when the comfort of average tries to lure you back. But the beautiful part is, once you embrace this truth, you become unstoppable. Not because life gets easier, but because you get stronger. You stop expecting overnight rewards and start investing in long-term excellence. You stop looking for shortcuts and start building character. Let me show you what this looks like in the real world. There was a young woman named Elise who dreamed of owning her own design agency. She had talent, no question, but talent isn't the same as success. She started by freelancing on the side while working a full-time job at a desk she hated. For 2 years, she juggled long days, tight deadlines, and endless rejection emails. Her friends went out every weekend while she stayed up studying marketing, refining her craft, and pitching clients who never responded. Some people called her obsessed. Others said she was wasting her time. They didn't see progress, but she wasn't chasing quick wins. She was chasing growth. One night, after a full day of work and a canceled client call, she was tempted to quit. She sat in front of her laptop, drained and discouraged. But something inside her said, this is the price. And she chose to pay it. Again, 1 year later, she landed a dream client. 2 years after that, she quit her job. And today, that same woman who worked out of a noisy coffee shop now runs a multi-six-figure agency serving global brands. It wasn't magic. It wasn't luck. Lust, it was the truth. Success is earned. Stories like Elise's happen every day, but only for the people who are willing to push through when the excitement wears off. Success demands consistency, even when the emotions fade. It requires that you do the work when it's boring, when it's hard, when nobody claps, and when your bank account still looks like a joke. The people who win are the ones who decide they will keep showing up long after the thrill is gone. They don't need permission. They don't need the perfect moment. They just decide, and they move. And that decision gets made again every day. The decision to show up, the decision to believe in the invisible, the decision to give 100% even when the results are at 0%. That's the cost. And the cost is never a one-time payment. It's a lifestyle. Success also requires that you take full ownership. You don't blame your environment, your upbringing, your boss, or your market. You take responsibility. Why? Because ownership gives you power. When you own the outcome, you control the input. And when you control the input, you take your destiny out of the hands of chance and into the hands of choice. That's what makes the truth about success both sobering and empowering. There's no one coming to save you. There's no golden ticket. But if you're willing to work, to learn, to grow, to endure, then there's also nothing that can stop you. Not rejection, not failure, not setbacks. Because success isn't a one-shot event. It's a byproduct of who you become in the process. It's not just about the outcome. It's about the identity you forge. Success is what happens on the outside when you change what's happening on the inside. That's why the most successful people aren't just the smartest or the most talented. They're the most committed. They're the ones who decided they would not be denied, not by life, not by doubt, not by fear. They understood that success doesn't show up for those who wait. It shows up for those who work, not occasionally, Not when it's easy, but relentlessly, you don't stumble into greatness. You rise into it decision by decision, hour by hour, failure by failure. Keep going. You keep growing. And before long, what once felt impossible starts becoming inevitable, not because the journey changed, but because you did. So the truth about success is this. It doesn't respond to what you want, it responds to what you work for. And if you are bold enough to pay the price day after day, you will find that success was never running from you. It was waiting for you to become the person who could hold it. Pain. Just hearing the word triggers emotion. For some, it's physical. For others, it's emotional or spiritual. But no matter where it shows up, one thing is certain, pain is universal. It doesn't discriminate, it doesn't ask permission, and it doesn't come with a warning label. And yet the truth about pain is not what most people believe. We've been taught to avoid it, to run from it, to numb it, to hide it. But that's a lie. The truth is pain is not a detour from your path, it is the path. It's not punishment, it's preparation. It's the pressure that produces growth. It's the fire that refines greatness. And if you're willing to walk through it, pain can become the very thing that unlocks the next level of your life. Most people are stuck, not because they lack talent or opportunity, but because they misunderstand pain. They think something is wrong when it shows up. They think failure means they missed their calling. They think heartbreak means they're broken. But pain doesn't mean you're failing, it means you're being forged. Nothing worth having is born in ease. Growth doesn't come from comfort. Strength doesn't come from safety. And purpose isn't discovered in perfection. It's found in pressure. Pain reveals what comfort hides. It exposes your limits, your fears, your excuses, your patterns. But here's the power of it. When you face it, instead of fleeing from it, you get access to truth. The truth about who you are, the truth about who you're not, and the truth about who you could become if you don't quit. Look at nature. Diamonds are created under extreme pressure. Gold is refined in fire. Muscles grow through resistance. Without stress, without tension, without breaking, there is no building. Why would your purpose be any different? Let me share a short but powerful story that shows how pain works. Not against you, but for you. There was a man named Terrence who dreamed of becoming a public speaker. He had passion, presence, and a heart full of stories, but life hit him hard before he ever touched a stage. In his 20s, he lost his job. A year later, he lost his home. A few months after that, his mother passed away unexpectedly. One blow after another. The kind of season that makes most people give up. He found himself sleeping in his car, questioning everything, his worth, his vision, his future. But every day he still wrote. He recorded voice notes on his phone. He studied speakers on YouTube in parking lots with free Wi-Fi. He cried a lot, prayed a lot, doubted himself constantly. But he didn't quit. Eventually, he got a small opportunity to speak at a local church. No lights, no cameras, no paycheck. But he poured his whole story into that room. Raw, real, and the people responded. Not because he was polished, but because he was honest. Because pain had given him something success never could, authenticity. Over time, word spread, one talk led to another. Today, Terrence travels the country sharing his message with thousands, but he doesn't tell people about how great he is. He tells them about the pain, because that's what connects, that's what teaches. That's what transforms. Pain was his training ground. And it can be yours too, if you let it. See, pain has two voices. One voice tells you to retreat. It says, this is too hard. You're not built for this. Just go back. That voice is loud, it's familiar, but it's also a liar. The second voice is quieter, but more powerful. It whispers, keep going. This hurts, but it's making you stronger. There's something on the other side of this. That voice, that's the voice of your purpose. You have to choose which one you'll listen to, because pain doesn't just shape your body or your mind, it shapes your decisions, and your decisions shape your destiny. If you only make moves when it feels good, you'll live small. You'll quit early, you'll stay stuck. But if you can learn to lean into discomfort, to keep walking even with tears in your eyes, even with fear in your chest, even with wounds still healing, you will grow into a person no storm can break. That's what pain does. It builds resilience. And resilience is the real flex. Not results, not recognition, but the ability to rise again and again. Pain is also a teacher. It shows you what matters. It shows you what you care about. It strips away the distractions and exposes the truth. That heartbreak you felt, it taught you how to love better. That failure you face, it taught you how to plan smarter. That betrayal you endure to touch your instincts. The point of pain isn't to break you, it's to build you with purpose. But the benefit only comes if you stick with it. Too many people check out before the lesson is complete. They jump out of the fire before the gold is refined. They walk away from the gym before the muscle grows. They stop the healing process halfway and wonder why the wound keeps reopening. Growth requires endurance. And endurance comes from pain. Sure, sir. Now, I'm not saying you should seek out suffering. Life brings enough of it without your invitation. What I am saying is this: don't waste your pain. Don't numb it, and don't ignore it. Don't pretend it's not there. Learn from it. Listen to it. Let it shape you into someone stronger, wiser, more compassionate, and more dangerous in the best way. Because the people who leave the greatest legacy on this earth are not the ones who had the smoothest path. They are the ones who turn pain into purpose. They turn struggle into strategy. They turned wounds into wisdom. They allowed pain to break them open so they could become whole. So when pain knocks on your door, and it will, you don't have to love it. But don't run. Open the door, invite it in, and say, "Oh, what are you here to teach me?" Because if you let it, pain will become the mentor you never asked for but always needed. In years from now, when people look at you and wonder how you got there, they'll see the glory, but they'll never fully know the pain. And that's okay. Because you'll know what it took. You'll know who you became, you'll know the truth.